Okay, let's dive right into 1 Corinthians chapter 5.
Yeah, this one jumps straight into a really difficult topic.
It really does. It's all about how a community is supposed to handle, well, some serious misconduct reported from within its own ranks.
Exactly. It shows pretty starkly the kinds of challenges early communities faced, trying to maintain their standards, their very identity, when things go wrong internally.
And the text doesn't beat around the bush. It lays out this specific, really quite shocking problem,
Shocking is the right word. It mentions a type of sexual immorality that it claims does not occur even among pagans.
which is,
A man having his father's wife. That's the situation reported.
wow, okay. And then there's the community's reaction, which is almost as startling as the offense itself.
Right. You'd expect maybe horror or grief, but the text says they're actually proud, puffed up about it somehow.
Which is the total opposite of what the text suggests they should be feeling.
Completely. It argues they should have been filled with grief, mourning, and crucially should have already removed the person involved. It highlights this huge gap between who they claim to be and how they're acting.
So enter Paul, the speaker in the text. Even though he's not physically there, he makes it clear he's already made up his mind.
Yes, he says he's already passed judgment just as if he were present. No hesitation.
And the judgment is pretty intense.
Extremely. The command is to hand this man over to Satan.
Hand him over to Satan. What does that even mean in this context, and why?
Well, the text gives a specific purpose. It says it's for the destruction of the sinful nature, or the flesh, so that his spirit might be saved on the day of the Lord.
Okay, so it's a drastic measure, but with a stated goal of ultimate redemption. Bizarre as that sounds.
It frames this really harsh, immediate consequence as, paradoxically, a path towards potential future salvation for the individual. But it's definitely jarring.
Then the text brings in this image, this analogy, to explain why one person's actions impact everyone.
The yeast. Don't you know that a little yeast works through the whole batch of dough?
Right. That small amount spreads and changes everything.
Exactly. It's used to illustrate how this kind of unchecked behavior isn't just an individual problem. It can permeate and corrupt the entire community's character. It affects their collective life.
Which leads directly to the next instruction,
Get rid of the old yeast
which the text identifies as malice and wickedness.
and become a new batch without yeast, characterized by sincerity and truth.
And this is where Christ comes in as the Passover lamb.
Yes, that Passover connection is huge. Remember, for Passover, Jewish practice involved removing all leaven, all yeast from the house. It symbolized leaving the old life in Egypt.
So the sacrifice of Christ, the Passover lamb, is presented as the event that enables this new, unleavened life for the community.
Precisely. It's the foundation for their ability to cleanse themselves and live differently, free from the dominion of that old yeast.
Okay, so maintaining this unleavened state involves purity. And the text then clarifies who they need to separate from. It seems there was some confusion.
There must have been. He clarifies an earlier instruction about not associating with sexually immoral people.
But makes a really key distinction.
A critical one. He says, look, I'm not talking about the immoral people of this world, the greedy, the swindlers, the idolaters out there.
Because to avoid them.
You literally have to leave this world, as the text puts it. Total isolation isn't the point.
So the instruction is specifically about people inside the community.
Yes, very specific. Do not associate, don't even eat with someone who calls himself a brother, claims to be part of the group, but lives in these ways. Sexual immorality, greed, idolatry, slander, drunkenness, swindling.
That's a clear line drawn. Inside versus outside.
And the rationale follows directly. The text asks, essentially, why would I judge outsiders? Isn't it your job to judge those inside?
So the community's responsibility is internal discipline.
Correct. Judging behavior within their own fellowship. God, the text implies, will handle the judgment of those outside.
Which brings us to the final blunt command.
Expel the wicked man from among you. No ambiguity there.
So wrapping this up, 1 Corinthians 5 presents a really demanding picture of community standards.
It really does. It shows a belief that serious, unaddressed sin within the group poses a fundamental threat, requiring this drastic step of removal, expulsion for the sake of the community's integrity, and as the text frames it, even for the ultimate good of the person involved.
It absolutely pushes you to think hard about boundaries, accountability, and what holds a community together. So here's something to consider. Given this text's approach, what does it truly mean for any community then or now to define its boundaries, and what are the ongoing challenges and maybe even dangers of enforcing them so decisively?